Did we see this from NASA? It's under aviation and engineering. Okay. Yeah, it's how New Shepard looks like a dick. It's a 2006 Ford Fusion. God damn it, man. Wait, it does? What? In terms of what's going wrong, I can say that the handle still has spring tension, but something isn't engaging to allow the door to open. I expect a broken part or slipped spring. Nah, it's probably a plastic bushing. Hold on. 2006 Ford Fusion. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 moment. Alright, I gotta look at something. That's gonna do it for Space News, guys. I'm gonna switch over to KSP here. We could keep I think we should keep doing heavy SSTO testing. I gotta get the tanks figured out, so... Mission mode part 177. Chad tier aircraft still flying. F-117 aggressors photograph lower the Nevada desert. Yeah, they stopped flying them. All right, Draco, let's see what we can see here. Give me 1 moment. Weather strip, hinge, weather strip retainer. Oh, for Pete's sake. Website's from like 1993. Not really. 2005, let's say, at the very least. Ford. Hey, yes, what's going on? Probably a door handle rod retainer. Yeah. Sometimes they show diagrams. Here we go. Door weather strip diagram, inner outer panel, handle. Let's just click on this, see if we can see the diagram. Nope, that doesn't show it. How you doing, S? Yeah, see, they show the diagrams sometimes, and you can see them. I just gotta find the right... Yeah, it sounds like a plastic part somewhere in the latching mechanism, Chumley. That's usually what it is. It's usually something dumb like that. Door check assembly, handle cup check assembly. Handle cup. No. Let's try door latch. Let's see what that does. Yesterday at work, everyone was making fun of Jeff Bezos, saying how he didn't really go to space and that he should go to orbit instead of being a fancy amusement ride. Well, I'll take people that didn't watch the press conference after the flight for a 500S. He literally said that New Shepard technology is being used for a scalable technology for New Glenn's upper stage, and also confirmed that New Armstrong is happening. Whammy. I didn't see that, but that's pretty cool. Look at the press conference, dude. Listen to him talk. I guarantee all those people that, all the doubters are going to be, all the haters are going to be a little upset. Yeah, you basically got to go through and find a diagram. Hang on. Here, Draco, let's see what we can see here. Let's try this real quick. Hex heads. Of course. Alright, where does he take the door card off? Okay. Hex is so elitist. Dude, I'm with you on that one. Not an 06, but same door. Yeah. Oh, no. Show me the damn... Oh, you poop face. Why do people even put these videos up? Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you how to take the door off of the car. Here's a nice view of the floor. Here's a nice view of the ground. Be sure to like and subscribe. I need to see this piece right here. Here, let's see if we can see it for a second. There we go. Alright, that's good enough. Alright, Draco, let's take a look. So, there's your door latch. It looks like it's on a cable. Pretty straightforward stuff. The hell is this? Thomas, you freaking Google foo here. Alright, let me see. "2011's the same car. It's got to be the central locking, Tessa. This cable must be going through here. That's got to be the central lock, and then it's got to go through down here to the latching mechanism, because the lock physically is over here on the door, right? So, Draco, if I had to guess, it's probably something in this subassembly right here. I'm going to go ahead and guess that, because your springs are in there, but clearly you're not making a link over here. Draco, does the central locking still work? Can you lock and unlock the door from the inside of the car? Does that still work? Does the door actually lock? Yeah, of course it does. Is central locking a security feature? No, it's central locking means you have one switch that centrally locks all the doors. It's literally the lock and the unlock button. The locks still do work. Okay. Something up here in this plastic subassembly took a dump, dude. I'm like 90% sure it's something up here. It's these damn plastic parts, Draco. Do you ever hear me drone? I mean, you have. You've heard me drone on and on about how automakers cheap out and they make everything out of plastic and it's not sustainable and it's junk. Doesn't last. There you go. It's this kind of stupid small stuff, dude. You add more plastic parts in there that's just more junk that can fail. But yeah, fortunately this doesn't look like it's that hard of a fix, to be honest. Because your door latch is just literally like a bike cable. Like, think like a handbrake on a bicycle. Same thing. It's just going to a central lock, that's all. If the central locks still work, that tells me that it's just the handle. It's just the linkage to the handle. So Chumley, if you're still in here, Chumley said it in chat. That's right. No joke, this is the second time I've had a door crap out on me this year. First one was on a door in your house. You're just not doing good with doors, man. I hate plastic on cars, Celtic. I hate it. There's literally no need for it. And I know what people are going to say. EJ, it's cheaper and it's lighter. You can make those parts out of metal and they would be stronger and they would last a lot longer. You know how I know? Because they used to do that all the time, and those cars last a lot longer. Just putting it out there. They don't want them to last longer. Yeah, I know. Okay, Boomer. Yeah, Swishio. Yeah, you can okay Boomer me all you want. I have 2 cars that are over 50 years old, and they still work. Just putting it out there, man. Yeah, but they sell fewer cars. You know what, John? I'd rather make a good product and sell less than make a piece of junk and sell more. I can look at you dead in the eyes and say that with utmost honesty. I would rather go out of business knowing that I made a good frigging product than make a bunch of crap and stay in business. And that's why I don't sell cars or make them, because I would go out of business very quickly. Yes, it happens. That's when you diversify. Make other things that last longer. Well, Sennheiser got bought out, S-Master. They got bought by somebody. They didn't stop making them. Yeah, Peugeot's more cheap plastic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's not a knock against Peugeot. Ford does it too. Yep, sold off to a hearing aid company. And before you say, like, I know people are going to say, well, EJ, you're not a car dealer. Yeah, but I do stream, and the content that the type of content that I peddle, I'd rather have higher quality content than a bunch of gimmicks to get people to subscribe. That's for sure. Model hasn't failed me yet. And it frankly won't. As long as I can keep doing it. Knock on wood. It's not very cash money of you, management. All right.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Yeah, there you go, S-Master. No, Sennheiser makes great headphones, dude. Or made. Says the man with the automaton. What? There you go, plastic as it's stronger than Chinesium. Oh, EJ, don't do us like that, man. Damn. It's true. Don't do us like that. Come on. Oh, dear. Not true. You're aware of Vulcan cook ranges? Well, Celtic, there's, you know, I personally think if you make a better product than everybody else, you're going to have better brand loyalty. Tesla's a pretty good example of that, don't you think? Or KitchenAid. You know those damn KitchenAid mixers? They haven't changed that design in years. You know, KitchenAid mixers, they're straight up been making the same thing for like 50 years straight. Yeah, that's true, Entropy, yeah. Yeah, Warjo, I don't know. Good quality is not important anymore because consumers only care about price. But if you market that correctly and you make, you know, if it's marketed correctly, GM did this in the 60s, dudes. GM, remember that company that I don't like? GM did that in the 60s. They made higher quality products than everyone else. They made higher quality products with better standardized parts that were a better design than other people, than Ford, than Dodge, than anyone. Why do you think people love Chevys from the 60s and the 70s? Even the smog era stuff. It was engineered to a way higher minimum standard. GM stuff from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. The 70s and the 80s stuff is kind of... It's a crap car. It's a crap performing car, but those crap performing cars were built really, really well. Ford was pretty good in the 60s too. That's right, Bill. Wait, what about Oldsmobile? Oldsmobile's part of GM. S, nice. I mean, Ford did the same thing too, but Ford chose to... Ford's cars from the 60s, and I'm saying this as... I love Ford, but Ford's cars from the 60s were built to keep costs down. So what GM would do is they'd build one type of higher quality part and then mass produce that part. And that would keep the price down for the consumer. So you got high quality parts at a good price. Ford made a decent quality, but it was, they would make stuff thinner, like the metal on the cars was thinner. That's why Mustangs are called Rustangs, because it was the start of that cheapness. You build it cheaper to keep the price down. I like the way GM did it, to be honest with you. It's funny because Tesla's copying them right now too. You build a higher quality product and you flood the market with cars. That's why Elon always talks about scalability. Building a prototype's easy. Building 1 million of them is a lot harder. You flood the market with a pretty damn good product, right? And people will buy it. It's doing it with the electric car. That's what Henry Ford did with the Model T. Same thing. There was a time 100 years ago where people would say that, oh, you know, the Model T is just for rich people. The Model T we'll never have our own Model T. Does that sound on a different note? Does that sound familiar? So what you're saying is that Ford caused the crappy cars of today. Got it. Yes and no. Yeah, that's what GM did. They flooded the market with quality parts and they mass produced. They made tons of them, and that's what kept those parts well. That's how you make something that's how you can make a good product for a good price. We have Model Ts at home. Model Ts at home. Off to bed. All right, drummer. Let's play some Kerbal, dudes. We got to get back into engineering these. Get back into engineering the super heavy tanks. So that's what we're gonna do. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Is that a Supra? You're a Supra. Got him. Yeah, stereo, right? Alright, so we were working over here. I hope your stream's good. I was taking a study break. Alright, Airborne, be good, man. See ya. Thanks for popping in, man. So we were working on this right here. But we found some, at the beginning of the stream, I streamed Kerbal this morning. I did find some problems here. So I had to redo some of the fuel tanks here. So we actually need to go right here. See, do not need certification, do not use. All right. We got to do the vibration and load testing again because I changed the tank design. Like how it spontaneously exploded. It wasn't spontaneous, but yeah, I caused it. How's your mother? Did you tell her you're living in a van down by the river? Okay, well. Let's do the load tests again, guys. We're gonna make the tank hop. Excuse me, one tank hop. so I can go to poo. Alright, so I gotta qualify these tanks. I noticed that these tanks weren't structurally sound. I went to put a prototype out on the runway earlier, and it didn't work. Yeah, it exploded. Yeah, it exploded. So I have to recertify these tanks, so that's what we're gonna do now. Recertifying them, basically, I have to do a couple of things. I have to make sure that the tank will basically stay together, because one of the reasons when I put the prototype out and it blew up, I lost one of my prototypes for the big SSTO this morning, which sucks. One of the things about that is that the prototype, I went to retract the landing gear to try and get the whole thing to bounce, and the two aft fuel tanks on it exploded. Yeah, that's real good. So I went back and I redesigned my tanks here. One, to be more like the smaller SSTO, and two, to be able to withstand doing stuff like this. Nice. Did you try arching your shoulders? I think we're good. Can you make a spring so strong you could bounce into orbit? Yes, actually. There's these things that we invented called Kraken drives, which involve compressing the spring to an infinite... to induce infinite load, Anton, and I've made stuff go, like... what is it, like 5,000 kilometers a second or something? Like, actually, no. What did we get up to? 300,000 kilometers a second. 300 kilometers a second. 300,000 meters a second. Yeah, you absolutely can. Okay. I think it's good. I'm using the landing gear to basically induce shock load onto the tank, to see if it structurally holds together. Now, the next thing I gotta do is just make sure that everything is being occluded here. Yep. There's this thing we invented today. It's called math. Yeah, she's good. Fizz warp test? Sure, we can do that too. Literally doesn't move. Good. I saw what I wanted to see. It's the aft bilobe tanks on the SSTO. Yes. Swishio, he had an accident in 2010 in a Ford Focus 1.8 at 120 kilometers an hour. We went off the road in the bushes and onto the roof. The firefighters arrived. They were extremely impressed and said that we should definitely buy a similar car. No need to say that. My mom brought another Ford with the same construction sidebars. I don't know how you called them. They're called A-pillars. Yeah, Ford does good engineering. They skimp in some other places. But yeah, I generally like the way they engineer things nowadays, Swishio. But I still like the old stuff. The old stuff is, you know... Did we invent math, or did math already exist and we just define it? Jay, we invented math. Math is just our way to quantify how things happen in the universe. It's our way of explaining physics, for instance. Yes, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. Okay. I don't think we need to do the vibration testing, guys, to be honest. I think we're good. I'll... You want me to build... Alright. Okay, John. You want me to do it again? We'll do it right. Sure. If we want to be absolutely sure. Let's go. I'll just build the exact same thing. No problem. It would probably be better if I did it anyway. I'll build the rig again to test the tank. We're going to do vibration and lateral load testing. We just did up and down load testing, so load testing this way. Now I'm going to do load testing this way, because this will do load testing that would be more representative of what the vehicle's going to do when it comes into land. So let me get my struts. Let me get my dang old struts. Put them in the same places where they'll be where we attach to the SSTO. You guys know the saying, Kerbal struts drive me nuts. It's part of it, yeah. So I'm going to make a rig that we can use to drop this horizontally. There we go. Okay. So this test is designed to basically punch the vehicle, or drop the vehicle, right? Or drop the fuel tank down, like if we were simulating like a hard landing. I just gotta make sure that everything that I have highlighted there stays in one piece. That's all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to drop it off the clamps onto the landing gear. And the landing gear will absorb the impact, right? But force will still be transferred to the tank. Showing a friend, can you talk a little bit about hardcore mission mode? Yeah, lols. Mission mode is a set of rules that I play by that basically makes Kerbal 1,000 times harder than what it already is. On top of like no reloads, no quick saving. I'm playing in career mode, so I have special funds, right? I have to build launch pads for the vehicles per the rules. It's just basically a rule set that makes Kerbal a lot more difficult. So what I do, mission mode forces you to really, really engineer stuff about as well as you can get. About as well as you can. So instead of, because I can't really afford to put like a fully completed vehicle out on the pad, launch it, and have it blow up in my face, even though that's what happens sometimes. I have to test individual pieces. So I'm testing fuel tanks for my bigger space plane right now. This piece right here, the fairing 1, 2, 3, and 4, those tanks are all one, that's one fuel tank sub-assembly on a bunch that are on 3 of them, of 3 that will be on the SSTO. So we can do tests like this. It didn't like that. We're getting science from it. Crap. Let me just make sure all the struts are still run. It'll buff out. Why is testing so important? Well, Gorthon, this test stand only costs me 50K. The whole vehicle, when it's all together, is 500K. I don't want to put the vehicle out on the pad and have it blow up in my face and lose 500K. I'd rather lose 50. Let's just try it without the clamps this time. That's right, Syntax. Let's see. We're gonna gallop it around here. So I'm just trying to get this thing to buck around here on purpose. There we go. Nobody knows where we are going. And whoop. I'd say that's good lateral load testing. 3.3G lateral load. That's the same as up and down. It's fine. Let's recover it before I break it. This is 1.11.2. Put a Kerbal on top of it. No. Don't, no. Mission mode, man. It's the toaster. Yes. No. Void, they're empty because when this SSTO should be landing on the runway, when it's going to encounter lateral load like that, it'll be when it's coming in to land, so the fuel tanks will be empty. So for that test, it didn't matter. This is one of the Rocket. This is one of the aft bilobe tanks. So hang on. One of those guys. Yeah, it's one of those. There's the version of what this is supposed to be in real life. That's the oxidizer tank, though. So it's supposed to be a hydrogen bilobe. So that's what it's supposed to be in real life. There it is. Right there. Yeah, that's what this is supposed to be. That's the one that's the real one. And wouldn't you know, they're putting it in this picture. In this picture, they're putting it in a dynamic test stand. There it is. It looks like a giant butt. That... Don't discriminate, okay? Don't discriminate. That fuel tank came from Butt World, okay? I mean, I don't see a butt in this picture, but alright. Just had to. Now it's all good, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, actually, it's not shooting out hot gas. This was shot out liquid hydrogen, so it actually would have been very cold. Oh, cold gas. No. No, chat, no, cold gas, no, do not want. Yeah, thanks, Syntax, I appreciate it. You said it. No, I didn't, you did. You started this, not me. Okay. We will now do vibration testing. I'm gonna put the rotors more inside here to see what happens. Now, human music. Human music. I like it. This is Earth Radio. Here's human music. There we go. Yeah, sure, Syntax. Check it out. M rules in chat. I just linked it. Yeah, you want to see a copy of the rules? Go ahead. Mission mode is tough, dude. Chat votes on the direction of the space program. That's the other part I forgot to tell you. Chat votes on the direction of the space program. Chat wanted me to do SSTOs. I engineer it. So basically, chat is the board of directors, and I'm the chief engineer. Yeah. They also give me deadlines, and if I fail the deadlines, I take a rep hit. This big SSTO is due Saturday night by midnight. Damn you, chat. This is cat jam for me, man. So, just to be 100% sure that the tank works correctly, I introduced a new test here. This is vibration testing. We're basically gonna commence with the jiggling with the tank. You guys like jiggling? Man's the jiggling. I like jiggling.
Go at throttle up.
See last, what's up, Buck? You should both definitely check out and not check out S-Master's link. It's dangerous. If I buy this for you, will you use it to teach us about shuttle designs? Oh my god. How much is it? Alright. Commence the jiggling! Oh, I need batteries. Hold on. Hey, Zubaski. That's right. Have you ever been to Lightspeed in KSP? I've gone, what, 0.3% of Lightspeed in this game, Paul. I could make something go Lightspeed, sure. It would take a while for it to get going, but I could. You ever stared at it? Marveled at its beauty? Its genius? Yeah, it's a really, really nice model. Alright, commence the jiggling! Can you see anything wrong with it? Not really. No, that's pretty friggin' good. Yeah, you're not gonna find better. Seriously. That's about as close as you can get to the real thing without having like a CAD design of it. It's really freaking good. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's perfect. That's exact. I mean, it's... Wow. Yeah, I mean... If you bought it, would you print one out? How? How would you 3D print this, man? Yep. He's got the plumbing for the RCS. There's... I want to know how the dude that made this... I want to know how Albin made this high fidelity of a model. That... Everything seems to be in the right place from what I can tell from these pictures. I mean, keep in mind, it's just pictures, but... Let me look up in the landing gear bay. Yep. Yeah, that's all correct. He even put the RCC right there. Yeah, that's probably had a detailed blueprint. I mean, even the subassembly is right. Yeah, I want to know where he got the blueprint from. Obviously, it's based off the plans stolen by the KGB. It's pretty damn... That's pretty damn close to being... Yep, there's the plate. Yep, there's the... That failure point that I was talking about on the shuttle. Right there. Stingers are right. Plumbing on the stingers are right. Plumbing on the ohms is correct. Yeah, that's... Dude, that's... As it doesn't get... You won't find a better shuttle model. Seriously, you will not find a better shuttle model. If the Russians had this model, they wouldn't have made Buran. Buran's bulkheads are very similar to the space shuttle. It's very, very similar. But that's... Dude, that model is... Just hold on to that. Anyway. You found an animation of it. Yeah, we've seen that before, dude. Albin did an amazing job. It's perfect. That shuttle is perfect. It doesn't get better than that. I mean, oh my god. I don't think so, Kiosk, but either way. Yep. Yep, that's... Wow. And they're not wrong. The RS-25 injectors are... Yep. The RS-25 injectors are... You could see people machining injector plates. It's because it's NASA. It's public resource. So see with the emitter, he's using what's called a visual effect. That's a visual effect to create an emitter that's supposed to mimic the vortexes that come off the sides of the wings. Note that he has the emitter set up to create crazy amounts of drag on top of the wing. That's right. That's what the shuttle does. If this is indicative of turbulent air, when the shuttle angles up at a very high angle of attack, it creates insane amounts of lift. That's exactly what the shuttle does. Just picture this as turbulent air. So air that's at low pressure. The shuttle does exactly that when it comes in for a landing. Yeah, or the shuttle did do exactly that. Could be wrong, but that looks like actual CFD. Let me see. Nah, it's a visual effect, S. He may have used a baked CFD to get the emitter, though. It's possible. Yeah, that's doable. You can do a CFD simulation and then bake the simulation into an animation. Yeah, that's actually how I would do it. So it's exact. So yeah, you're probably not wrong. That's crazy. Nuts. Okay, now we have electrical. Let's do our vibration tests here. Ready? I'm looking around to see what struts are bending, guys. Who's gonna buy the model and port it to Kerbal? Nah. No, I'm good. It's not a glitch, Rigaro. Right-click on the gear when you're in the SPH and hit deploy shielded. If you put a slightly different mass on the paired rotors, you get a better effect. So I'm wiggling the engine on purpose. Or wiggling the fuel tank on purpose. I'm trying to see if there's a resonant vibration where it'll break. But it looks pretty dang stable. The two fuel tanks, these and the fairing, I'm trying to get basically to move as one piece. I don't want them bending. It doesn't look like it is. The only thing that's bending is the attachment struts, which is normal. That's what they should do. See? Get his struts to go piggly wiggly like that. No, I'm looking around to see if the fuel tanks are moving independently of each other. They are just a teeny weeny bit. See that? That's right, Jarvis. The tank is holding up very well, actually. Reduced vibration testing here. The Apollo capsule, the Dragon capsule, and the Blue Origin capsule have parachutes. They have two different ones, small ones and the big ones. So the small ones, Clayton, are called drogue chutes. That's basically to get the thing to slow down to a speed where you could deploy the big chute and not tension the rigging to snap it. Basically, it's like a little bit of the drogue chutes are a little bit of a brake. Because if you just deployed the big chutes while you were going too fast, the parachute will just rip off.
Discovery, go at
Mellow! 19-month resub. Your son William was born this morning at 9:30 a.m. Sorry I had to brag. Dude, congratulations, man. That's awesome. So cool. Congratulations, Mellow. Dude, you must feel like a freaking Chad right now. What are we testing here? I'm doing vibration testing to make sure that the tanks all stay rigid as one piece. What in the ever-loving heck did I come back to? Vibration testing. What are some clever ways to gain science? Just drive around KSC, Frank. Try to get some science from the runway. Try to get some science from the hangars, the launch pad. Go down to the water, get some from the water. Go to the shores biome. Drive up on the hills. It's plenty of good ways. That's awesome, Mello. So cool, dude. It's just a vibration tester, Sawyer. I've seen what I want to see. I'll just crank this to 11 Mythbuster style. If it breaks, it breaks. Alright, sorry. It's staying really rigid, guys. Like I said, I saw what I wanted to see. I think we're good. We're definitely getting more movement from up here, because this part is only connected via struts, but that's simulating how it would be on the actual prototype. This would be connected to the forward fuel tanks, which would be triangular right here. And then there'd be another version of this right here, and then the payload bay would be right there. This is the starboard aft tank here. Yep, I saw what I wanted to see. So who's ready to scrounge around for some science? I like her, Inky, huh? Pretty as a peach, too. Sorry, fellas, she's married to science. Our portal turret launchers launch all the bullet. That's 70% more bullet per bullet. Oof. You saw what you wanted to see, but did you see what you didn't want to see? Well, yeah, when it exploded a little earlier, Akabidi, that I did not want to see that. Alright. We're good. We can get rid of the tester. Want to see an explosion. Got it. Alright. Okay, now let's go back into my master prototype here. Yeah, we still need to bonk test the front tank. How come you haven't updated to the new version of KSP? Docking ports don't work the same way I want them to work, metrics, in the newer version of KSP. So I actually rolled back to get my docking ports to work a little bit better. Yeah, because I want my spacecraft to be reusable, dude. I need to be able to reattach them to a launch pad. So I need a docking port. I can't use a decoupler, right? I want to land my rocket on the runway, or land my space plane on the runway. This is the start of it. It's very preliminary. To land it on the runway and then tow it back to the launch pad that I built and, you know, turn it upright and fly it again. But in order to get it to redock to the launch pad so I can in order to get it to reattach to the launch pad so I can refuel it, I have to redock it. The thing is that with the new version of Kerbal, you can't auto strut through docking ports because they pivot. So I need to wait until they hot fix the game so you can lock out docking ports, because now that the docking ports can rotate, auto struts won't go through them. So that makes the docking ports very flimsy. Does that make sense? Have you worked on the full version yet? The full version of what? Just got back. Any updates on Nauka? This but the whole thing, not just the side tanks. I may have worked on it a little bit. Yeah, demo. I worked on it before Space News, dude. There you go. Alright, I'm gonna head out. Talk to you later, dude. Best of luck in your space adventures. Have some Kerbal snacks in honor of Jeb. Oh, okay. Cool render. Yeah, that is pretty cool. What if you had a docking port to the docking port and auto strut the first one? Dylan, you just made my head hurt. I don't understand. I don't understand. Alright, let's go in and inspect the struts. Okay. 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 Cross struts on the top are good. Cross struts on the bottom are good. Let's go over here. Cross struts there are good. Cross struts there are good. There should be 2 struts here. One there. One there. One there. One there. Yep. Yep, yep. Alright, cool. Did I see your link? I didn't tag you. I saw the track, Loopy. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Hold on. This is the newly launched Nauka module heading for the ISS as it passed over St. Albans, Vermont after 10 p.m. Wow, great shot. Alright. All the struts came in on the tanks correctly, so let's rerun the struts that we had. Trying to attach the struts in the same place that I attached them on the test stand. I really don't like how long those struts are. Are you planning to use vector engines for this? I'm going to use the OC vector engines. Yeah, same one as the small one, Vulcan. I don't have the time to engineer anything else, dude. I am way behind schedule with this. We gotta finish it. I don't need another rep hit. What's up, dude? Been really enjoying SSDO development. Thanks, dude. So structurally, how have we improved since this thing is built like a tank explosion? So, Loopy, I am not going to give you a dumbed-down explanation because I know you understand hierarchy. If anybody else... If I just start speaking another language here, just bear with me. I don't have to use any analogies to explain it to Loopy guys because I know you understand it. Loop. So, all right. What I did was before I had these radially attached to the fairing, and the radial attachment point is weak sauce, dude. So what I did is I used the interstage attachment nodes. Interstage attach nodes on the fairing. This one is attached to the first node that's facing forward. This one is attached to the rear node the first node facing rear. And then, on top of that, I have the tanks strutted to the fairing shape in the front, and then I have a redundant strut here that's going from tank to fairing plate. And then up at the front, I have this tank strutted to there, this tank strutted to there, and then the two front tanks here are cross-strutted on the top. And then on top of that, everything is using grandparent strut. So this tank and that tank are strutted to fairing plate. This tank and that tank are strutted to engine mount. And then at the very tip of the fairing, the two front tanks are strutted to fairing shape loop. This thing it survived 3G's longitudinal load, 3G's lateral load, and then we just vibrated the trash out of it. It is fine. How are you going to fit the taller payload bay in there? Science. Missed a strut. Where, Cameron? Back of the front module. Oh. Yes. Thank you. This one was going tank to fairing plate like that. And are the girders attached to the interstage nodes of the core fairing? No, they're not because they move in symmetry. They are not, no. How much cargo will this hold? It's an 18-ton to orbit SSTO Zenith, but 18 tons up and down, fully reusable. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, physics is just a pain in the butt. If I'm going to make something that rides all the way into space, I need exponential amounts of fuel as I approach orbital velocity, hence the gigantic freaking tanks. I could build a rocket with a fuel tank, a staged rocket with fuel that probably carries as much fuel as this. And get 18 tons into space, no problem. But the fact that I'm lugging this entire thing up into orbit every time makes it so you need a lot more fuel to lug the entire thing and a payload into space. How are you going to pay for it? With money. Mello, you've been out of the loop, right? Have you seen what this is based off of? Have you seen the prototype? Prototype 16? Here. This is going to look like a bigger version of this. It's just going to be a bigger version of that. It's going to look exactly like this. Not these exact wings, but close. This one flies. It can move 2 tons into space. No problem. 2 tons up and down. No problems here. It's a small sat launcher, but it's a fully reusable small sat launcher. Yeah. I have 20,000 Republic Dactaries, Shatter. Shatter, Republic credits are no good out here. I need something more real. I don't have anything else, but credits will do fine. No, they won't! Credits will do fine. No, they won't! What, do you think you're some kind of Jedi? Waving your hand around like that? I'm a Tidarian. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money. No money, no parts, no deal. And no one else has a KS-25 vector engine, I promise you that. Ha ha ha! We let fate decide, huh? I just happen to have a chance cube here. Blue, it's the boy. Red, his multipass. The references. I watched that way too many times. Ah, yes! Nubian! We got lots of that. But is it legal? I will make it legal. And the Jedi, the Chancellor should never have brought them into this. Kill them immediately. Oh, yeah, yes, yes, my lord, as you wish. Now you want a pod racer? Oh, I've built those before. They work about as well as they worked in the movie. Have you seen Mini Motorways, by the way? I think it's a game after your own heart. No. What's Mini Motorways, Loopy? Can you reenact the whole movie on stream? I don't know. It's a game about building roads. And optimizing them. It's very good. What's it called? Mini Motorways? Oh, look at this little guy. Oh, that's like OpenTTD. That's kind of cool. Neat. All right. So we need to do a bonk test with this thing. Ready? You ready, Freddy? Actually, I want to put one more strut in here like that. Crazy thing called the love. Crazy little thing called love. All right. Let's put all the docking ports right back into the correct spot. I'm putting docking ports down because they work basically like telemetry sensors. If I control a docking port at the back of the tank, and then I switch to control from here from the front of the tank, it'll show sag. It'll show sag in the design. We do not want sag. You are not sag. You are not a key. Yeah, I know that. Gear placement might need adjustment. Okay. Nah, she good. Okay. $137 G's. Let's hope it works. I know it by muscle memory syntax. I'll tell you in a second. Freddy was always ready. It always bugged me that whenever he said ready, Freddy, he never said if he was ready or not. We'll never know. How did you do that with the camera? Are you going to the mall later, chat? That's what I'm asking. If you hold down middle mouse button, you can pan the camera. Gotta give her the old space try here. Alright, so this is prototype chassis 2. Let's check for sag. So front docking port is pitched up at 5. What about you? That's pitched up at 5. That's pitched up at 5. Yep. Okay, so she's rigid. That's -5. What about you down here? +5. Is she as strong as a brick, though? How does rigid attachment work? Auto strut will run an imaginary strut from one thing to another, Zenith. Rigid attachment will make the attachment point between two objects stronger. It'll make it, it'll keep them rigid. But the thing about keeping stuff rigid is that if you don't allow it to bend, it's gonna break eventually. So rigid parts make it so the connection between two parts move correctly. Auto strut runs an imaginary strut from one part to another part, depending on which option you select. This thing's gonna be freaking ridiculous. I'm good. I saw what I wanted to see. Recover it. Paint shaker with this thing? I don't think we need to. You want to develop an app? Strange question, but since we are not taking off, can we put all the wheels all the way back instead of near the center of mass? Well, King, yeah, you could, but I also want it to be able to rotate when it's coming in for a landing because of the body flaps, right? So I need to hit a high angle of attack, so it's better to put that... I mean, I suppose I could put them back, but I also want to put it at the center of mass so it's easier to bring the nose down. Because if the landing gear were too far back and we went to come in for a landing, we'd land and the pivot, the center of mass over the pivot, over the landing gear, would have more moment and it would slam the front gear into the ground. I don't want to do that. That's why the Space Shuttle, Dream Chaser, X-37, they all have the gear still around the center of mass despite not needing to take off from that position. But they all need high angles of attack to come back in for a landing. And when you come back in for a landing, the Space Shuttle actually likes to fly like this. Even after the wheels touch down, it likes to fly like that, keep the nose up to bleed off speed. Basically, it uses the entire bottom as a huge speed brake. And then you gently let the nose down. That's actually a lesson that was learned with the NACA. They figured out pretty quick that even though it's a glider and it's coming down, even though it's a glider that's coming down for a landing, you don't need to put the gear near the center of mass for it to take off. Yeah, well, here, I'll show you. Just watch. Yep, okay, right? Yeah, just note where the landing gear is on the X-15. Now watch. Oops. Yeah, the nose had so much moment over the rear landing gear relative to the center of mass, it slams the nose down. Yeah, that's what happens when you do... In Kerbal, don't get me wrong, KSP doesn't make a difference. Put the landing gear wherever you want. Unless you're working on something big like this, in which case you have to test it. In real life, that's what it does. Yeah, watch it. Crunch. Yeah, that's why all the space planes that come back have the landing gear near the center of mass, gliders too, because of that. Yeah, it was also carrying a bunch of fuel. Yeah, it was an emergency landing. Yeah, he still had fuel as well, pretty much a death sentence. Now, but the guy survived. It's like pretty cool that he survived. Now, it's carrying fuel, right? But see, you got to remember, the shuttle could take stuff down as well. It has down mass capability. Same with the X-37. So point is that you're heavy on landing, right? It's a similar scenario. I don't know if it was Chuck Yeager on this flight. I forget. Ooh. Yeah. Whoops. The guy's like, yeah, I broke it. Nope. Chuck Testa. Yeah. Does that mean it's not coming on then? Well, the front fell off. What do you mean the front fell off? I mean, the front fell off. The front fell off. Is that hypersonic? I don't know if the X-15 could break into hypersonics. Hey, Bilko. 15-month resub. Thank you. Is it normally fine with that landing gear because it's a lot lighter? I guess, yeah. I need to come in on Saturday. Got to make sure all the sub-assemblies hold up when joined. Oh. Yeah, Detrofit, I forgot off the top of my head. Oh, John, you want me to wiggle this thing too? It couldn't hurt. What's the difference between supersonic and hypersonic? Supersonic is between 1.2 Mach and 5 Mach. Hypersonic is Mach 5 to Mach whatever. 25? 30? The X-15 was so cool. I mean, yeah, Glowfi, it was pretty cool, but you gotta remember that last week we saw something very similar to that thing fly into space with 6 people on it. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. Alright, let me get the instrumentation ports off here. Remembering an abort into the mountains in a helicopter rescue attempt. Detripid, hypersonic starts getting into aerothermal dynamics, and if fast enough, chemistry as the air reacts around the vehicle. Yeah, that dang ionization from compression. I hate it when people call it atmospheric friction. Nope. Wrong, 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 wrong. Habitually, the shuttle habitually crossed that line into hypersonics. The shuttle is a habitual line stepper. Wrong, wrong. Last mission mode, you lost Kerbals on it. Hey, Nova, welcome back. Emoji for wrong. 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 Charlie Murphy. Ah! It's now good docking in a week. Remember, the helicopter chain got caught into the jet engines, blowing it up. I don't understand how that's pertinent to a vibration test, though. I'm confused. What's your upgrade path looking like for these things? Upgrade path? What do you mean? It's just gonna be a scaled version of the other one, dude. Because we tested for everything with that pod but mountain landings. So how does vibration testing equal mountain landing here, man? You lost me. I don't... You want me to drop this? I just put load on it by cycling the landing gear. Not skipping tests. Oh. I think it just means your tech tree. I have everything unlocked that I need for him, Hellfish. You don't need landing gear if you have family. Mello, we know you're speaking from experience, huh? Am I right? Am I right? Whoosh! Did the strategies in the admin building make that big of a difference? I wouldn't use them unless I absolutely needed to, Frank. Yeah. Arrow shell time? Not that I know of, S-Master. Pilch, I'm with you on that one. That's what I'm getting at. I think we're good. Unless you want me to bounce this thing. I'll bounce it like the X-15. We'll toggle the springs off and on this thing and just... You know? Family. Family, Novacom. Family. Family. I love that that's a meme. God, the Fast movies have gotten so bad over the years. That's hilarious. What a stupid movie. And I like the first Fast and Furious, and that movie wasn't stupid. It was corny as hell. Yeah, Zubaski, I guess. Family. We'll do it with this one, Pilch. It didn't say it. Yeah, I do, Hip. One. How many tons with fuel in it? Yes, Sea Dragon. Gotta hit the switches, bro. I'm shake testing the whole chassis, Jim. Family. Family. You want to really screw this thing up? Here's the way to do it. Uh-oh. There you go. Didn't really feel like spending another 100 G's tonight. Damn. Yeah, I thought it would hold it though, but that's okay. You really have to put this into a very, 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 very nasty failure mode to get it to do that. But it's alright. What failed? This structural connection again. It was this tank and the fairing. So if we wanted to be absolutely 100% sure that this thing will never break, just a couple more struts between these. What did we learn? Don't put the... I mean, that basically Kraken struck it. I used a Kraken drive. It had a Kraken drive strike. So that's a strike that imparts insane amounts of load on it. I basically put an explosive underneath it. Yeah, we don't want to bounce this thing. The dampers should absorb most of it. I basically welded the suspension and did the equivalent of dropping this thing Song 10 from about 5 meters. Let me just see. I gotta pick up pieces. I don't think it's gonna be very likely that this thing breaks because I need to strut things to those tanks that are gonna hold them in place. Yep. KSP tomorrow? Yeah, there's gonna be KSP every day this week, Senchai, for pretty long streams, just like right now. What the heck was that one? I dropped it and the landing gear Kraken struck. Basically, they went Kraken drive mode. And Kraken drives for the uninitiated, I should say. Kraken drives for the uninitiated can really impart a lot of force on things. Yeah. Here, let me show you. Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, note what it says on the right. It doesn't say meters a second. That's kilometers a second. Orb. Yeah. I basically hit it with enough force to get a ship to do that, and it blew it to smithereens. Like I said, it would be like a thermobaric explosion happening underneath here. That's the amount of force we're talking about. Yeah, nah, it's good. It's good, man. We do need to do something about the landing gear, though. I'm not sure what, but we do need to do something about it. So it didn't pass the Navy's explosion test? Nah. No. The thing is gigantic. It's big. Alright, well, that's 2 prototypes down the tube, so... Alright. I think the next thing that we should do is attach the payload bay. So, how I had the payload bay attached on the other vehicle was... hang on a minute. It was attached via a Mark III engine mount, but what I'm going to do is I attached it to the big center node there. So, the good way to do that to make sure it attaches to the right thing is to put these party hats on it. And then we'll turn on interstage attachment nodes here. Still only got 0.5, yeah. Well, yeah, something like that. And then... Kind of like having those there. Now... we could do that. Or, for now... we could carry spare fuel load. Just for now. For now. I would love to put the shuttle thing up there, but I need to evaluate performance first. Chef's kiss. Fuel in the shuttle thing. What if instead of throwing the external tank, instead of throwing away the external tank, we take it to orbit and bring it back? I mean, Wisp... that's basically what this is. This is basically a shuttle stack all combined into one vehicle. It's the boosters, the external tank, and the shuttle. Just all rolled into one. This thing's gonna be nuts, dude. It's gonna be insane. In a good way. In a good way, dudes. In a good way. Here. We'll pretty it up a little bit just to get an idea of what we're looking at. Does it help to align struts like that? Not really, hack and slash. angle of the strut matters a lot more. I line them up because it's a visual indication to let me know that I meant for that strut to be there and that's its final position. It's just something to help me keep track of what's going on. I like to... The angle that the strut runs at is way more important, but I like to do this to let myself know that I meant for that strut to be there. Same with that one. Same with these that are all turned. You see what I'm saying? They're all turned and aligned correctly. Those ones aren't because I'm not 100% sure if those should be exactly there. But yeah, that's why I do that way, man. Like these struts, I didn't bother to make them look right because they're just temporary. I don't know if the landing gear is going to be there. I don't know if it's going to be there in the final design. I have no idea. It looks like a Ferdinand. Hey, it kind of does. That's strange. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like here. This thing is supposed to look like this. Hang on. What? I don't want to get DMCA'd.
Is building and will fly an extraordinary, fully reusable vehicle, the X-33. Its first 450-mile flight from Southern California to Utah will take just 14 minutes. To protect the vehicle from the high heat of re-entry, X-33 uses an innovative metallic...
Okay, so let's get over to the big boy. So the X-33 was the demonstrator, and it was designed to basically... This was what it was going to lead to.
Space by breaking the cost barrier of getting there. Lockheed Martin calls it Venture Star, a single-stage to orbit, fully reusable space plane from the best minds of the aerospace industry. Venture Star will deliver satellites that affect our economy and our daily lives. Every time we use the internet, place a mobile phone call, or access video on demand.
This is what it's supposed to look like, though. My ears are bleeding. Can you stop now? Do you want me to get DMCA'd or not? So this is what the big boy is supposed to look like, guys. You're improving the video. Oh, well, thank you. So see, it has a huge hump on the top for the payload and stuff. I really wish they showed a picture of this thing when it's not frigging dark. There we go. Yeah, see? That's what I'm trying to make it look like.
Discovery,
right there.
going throttle up.
So, I'd have to say that we're getting there. It's getting there. Hey, Wii Sports extended their Tier 1 subscription through August. Thanks, man. Random question, but do you have a list of the mods you use in Beam? I'm getting back into it myself. I actually don't have a list anywhere, Duke. Nobody's ever asked me. Are you looking for something specific? Actually, hold on. How does the 455 wing look? Ooh. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 How big are the wings on this one? Dumb question, but why don't you ever play the music Das had? Wasn't that okay to use? Popsky? I can play Popsky. Hack and slash, not if you attach them correctly. You got to attach them to a part that has high thermal flux, and then they just dissipate the heat. So...
Discovery, go at throttle up.
You want this? I love Popsky. Good buddy of mine. We haven't talked much during the pandemic, but you're a good dude. Me and him go way back, man. The other one has these wings, guys. Fat 455s. It has that. My smaller vehicle has this. Popsky? No. Popsky is from Texas, man. At least I'm pretty sure he is. Oh, sure. Popsky's better than me. I see how it is. 29 months from you, Audrey. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jeb. That actually looks pretty good. You ever visit the High Rise website? I looked at it very briefly, tweets, but I did like what I saw. Now, the control surfaces on this, fellas, I'm not sure how well those are gonna work. It does look really cool, though. Use other wings. These airliner ones are very heat sensitive. Luiso, I use those on the other SSTO. As long as you have a part that has high heat flux, like a fairing next to it, it'll dissipate the heat just fine. You saw this. You saw this happening, man. You were telling me about it the other day. Oh, God. Yeah, you rapiered my fucking K-78 and flew it into space, hired. I remember that. So, hey, Wally got to space. And some guy named Bezos, too. How cool is that? 2 guys named Bezos. It's awesome. It's a great mission. You know, Audrey, I know a lot of people don't like it, Mr. Yeef. Gained a lot of respect from him. This guy's really, really a class act. If you watch the post-presser. Class act, man. Just handing out 100 mils. Handing out $100 million like it's candy. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna give 100 mil to that guy. I'm gonna give 100 mil to that guy. I'm gonna give 200 million to the Smithsonian. It's pretty classy. Yeah, no, seriously, Audrey. I've kind of done a little tally up in my head. Jeff Bezos has, over the last week and leading up to the New Shepard flight, he has literally donated a half a billion dollars. 100 million, another 100 million, 200 million. There's the 28 million from the auction for the New Shepard seat, and a couple of other things that I've lost track of. $500 million. $500 million. He gave $200 million to the Smithsonian, guys. $200 $500 million to the Smithsonian. You guys remember the other day when I said that, you know, $200 million could build you a hangar around the Smithsonian enough to bring back down the ISS and put it inside of it? Yeah. That's literally enough. Yeah. He gave $100 million to Van Jones for a civil achievement award, and then another Spanish chef, I forgot his name. Guy's handing out millions like it's candy, dude. Good for him. Gained a lot of respect for him. I really did. Those donations were probably tax write-offs. So, does that make it any worse? Like, that's $100 million. $100 million, dudes. Like, sounds like Tree Fitty. Whatever. You reckon he's working with Elon to bring the ISS down? How ridiculous would that be, Blinga? Not Hayden? Cool. Yeah. I like it. You know, you don't want to pay taxes? Be a good person then. It's not a bad way to do things, if you really ask me, man. People will disagree with me on that, and that's fine. It's not a bad way to do things, dude. The real thing is that he's spent like $5 billion on Blue Origin or something. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You did it! Congratulations! Yeah, it incentivizes people to be good, to be altruistic. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bill Gates eradicated he eradicated polio from an entire continent with his tax money. Hey, that's fine. All right. Red Sox win. Nice. But yeah, Audrey, it was cool. It was a cool mission. I gained a lot of respect for him. His bro's cool. His brother's cool too. He was talking about they were trying to talk about, like, hey Mark, can you check in with us? And it was like during descent when they were pulling like 5 Gs, and he's like, no, I'm all right. It's pretty funny, man. Go Sox. That's right. Yeah, what do you think, T-Man? Those fat 455s look cool. I am a little bit worried about temperature with the bigger wing, because the bigger wing is going to conduct more heat, I think. I think that's how Kerbal works. I know, Zeros, I'm with you. Yeah, RIW, fair criticism, for sure. Fair criticism, absolutely. But you got to remember, he doesn't work for Amazon anymore, man. That's somebody else now. He's just a shareholder. Not that it's okay. It doesn't excuse it. It doesn't excuse it, bro. That doesn't make it okay. Just a shareholder now. He's focusing on Blue Origin. That's another thing he confirmed in the press conference. He's all in on Blue Origin, which is pretty damn cool. That actually looks, what's the word? Freaking sick? Yeah, that looks amazing, man. Thanks, T-Man. I might keep the fat 455s. That looks awesome. Can he now ship some engines to ULA? Broccoli, nobody asked them that question. No, nobody asked that. Nobody asked that one. Gee, I don't know. Alright. I'm going to put some aft attachment struts here for the payload bay. We got to make sure the payload bay is pretty well supported because it's going to be supporting up to 18 tons of payload. Got to be very careful there. If you want to talk about sick things, talk about the XB-70. I mean... Are you going with the humpback version of this that was in the video? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to emulate, lols. Yeah, that's the idea, dude. VentureStar. I'm trying to build that. And I'm trying to scale off of the smaller SSDO, which is why I want the Fat 455s. Because that scales correctly. The thing is, those wings might be a little too big. They might be just a tad too big. But if I'm looking at this render right, man, the wings on VentureStar are freaking huge. I know, Songtan, right? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Must be nice, bro. Yeah, Miff, I'm with you on that one. Anyway, let's keep going. Maybe if I just move these in just a tad. Oh, that's freaking cool, man. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Will those wings handle the heat or re-entry? I don't see why they wouldn't, MG. I mean, yeah, they should. It should be okay. The other ones did. The Fat 455s did. These are on the other plane, remember? They were just fine. As long as we keep heating low by staying higher up in the atmosphere, I think we'll be okay. Right? I mean, am I thinking about that correctly? And we can flex heat to the fairing. The The fairing can move a lot of heat. And because this thing is connected to that fairing, right? It'll be able to disperse the heat through that. Herring? Is there birds around? Oh, nice. And it pops through the fairing, so I could do something like this right there. And that would carry over in symmetry. Oh, now, dude, this thing is going to be super strong. You mean fish herring? I don't know. Or fish. Birds? Birds don't exist, guys. Fish? I'm not convinced. This thing is going to be crazy. You should also stay open-minded to the wingtip vertical stabilizers that were added late in the program. Your side slips may scale up even worse. So you want something like, Prey, you're talking about something like this? Oh, dude, I don't mind how that looks. I don't mind how that looks at all. Oh, man, dude, that looks amazing, dude. Never cut open a mechanical fish. Yeah, but I've never seen that happen, so it probably didn't. I'm just messing with you, dude. Yeah, that looks pretty freaking cool, actually. Oh. Yeah, I see why they did that, Prey. Holy frick, that looks cool. Almost looks like GG. Easy, bro. Easy. Oh, man. This thing is gonna be freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. Actually, that dude, yeah. It really looks nice. I just gotta do something to make this not look like I just plopped this out there. We gotta put something. Yeah, maybe that'll work. This is bigger than the station in every dimension, isn't it? Yeah, it's gonna look a little weird docking to it, demo, but yeah. It'll look like a shuttle stack. A full shuttle stack docked to the station. The wing decoupler thing? Yeah, maybe something to just bridge this to make it not look as weird. More yaw moment reduces vortices by the giant dihedral wing. Yaw moment is what we want. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And unlike on the real one, Prey, unlike the ones that would be right here, that would be only for subsonic. That yaw would only, those rudders would only work at subsonic speeds. Why? Because the thing is angled up and those wings are behind it and they're not doing anything. These ones would work at all speeds. Looks like the wings could be at least doubled up. Just make a bigger station. I actually think I'm going to bring Liberty Station down. And we'll build another one. How cool would that actually be? Not just, we'll do what we want Starship to do. We'll just bring the station down. That does look pretty sick, though. I do like it. I didn't mind the wings being in here either, though. Let me just... They need to be as far back as possible. Just like the shuttle. Ooh, that looks good, too. Yeah, how crazy would it be, Blue, if I brought those modules back down and then I used a crane to put it together in a museum? Put my money where my mouth is with bringing the ISS back down, huh? Those wings have very bad heat tolerance. Yeah, but Jeb, on my smaller one, I was using the Fat 455s here. It should be okay. I don't see why it wouldn't. Unless heating is correlative to relative wing area. In which case, this is 2.7, so that's 4... Yeah, that's not exactly correlative between those, but we'll find out. Speaking of SSDOs, the Chrysler SERV had a ton of capability, not only with crew capsules, but also cargo missions. Yeah. SERV was insane, Ryan. It was basically a giant pod. It would be like if you took... It would be like if you took the external tank and made the external tank pod-shaped. Here, I'll get Hayes Gray's video. If you made the external tank pod-shaped and just put a bunch of shuttle engines down at the bottom. Yeah, that's SERV. This is from Hayes Gray art. I'll link it. Yeah, this is SERV. It is ridiculous, to say the least. Was NASA supposed to design this? Not NASA, Chrysler. They pitched it as a space shuttle concept for NASA. Basically, the stage, that's the first stage that it's a single stage to orbit, guys. That pod-shaped thing is the stage. That is the stage. That's it. And you could put payload on the top. You could put payload on the top like that. Or there's a huge cylindric cargo bay in here. And the tank is kind of around the outside. Around the outside. Yep. And it had a bunch of engines in here around the edge, and all those engines were pointing in. These flaps open up, and the whole thing becomes a gigantic toroidal aerospike. Yeah. It's a huge toroidal aerospike. That's what it is. Oh, it looks ridiculously stupid, Blue Land, with that up there. Another SSTO concept that I kind of had in mind, fellas, was taking this and putting Dart on top of it. Yeah. I was going to build this. It was between this and the X33. And then get this. It's pod-shaped, right? So on the way up, it works just fine. And because all the engine's pointing slightly inward, right, and the bottom of it being, if you go back here and look, see how the bottom is curved inward? It's a big toroidal arrow spike. So you get good performance at all altitudes. And then the thing is pod-shaped, so it has a cargo bay inside of it. And you could pull stuff out of the cargo bay. We could have done this. I was thinking about it. Right? It's a huge cylindric cargo bay. The center of this in a cylinder is hollow. And then, because it's pod-shaped, it just re-enters like a pod. Very simple. It's not supposed to land on water. That's the other thing. On the exact outer edge, on the very, very outer edge of this thing, so the rocket engines are in here pointing inwards, right? Rocket engines are they're pointing inwards. In an aerospike configuration. And then you notice those slats that are opening on the side? Guess what those are? Wait for it. Jet engines. It was crazy. What a crazy idea. But gosh dang, is that cool. Yo, that's amazing. It's so cool. What were they thinking? I don't know, man. I don't know. The same people that designed this, the same people that designed that were the same people that made this. So, what were they thinking? I don't freaking know, dude. Seriously, SERV is a Chrysler designed it. Chrysler was an aerospace defense contractor in the 60s. They didn't just make cars. Yeah, Prey, it's so ridiculously... I mean, honestly, it's freaking ingenious. That's really not a bad way to do that. It currently fits with Chrysler's jam a Hellcat motor in everything mentality, yeah. It makes sense. It freaking makes sense. It's really freaking smart. We could do this in KSP, no problem. Oh, I could make this. Yeah, it would probably have been done by now. The big one would have been done by now. Yeah. And before you say, well, what experience did Chrysler have making aerospace stuff? Well, like I said, they were a defense contractor in the 60s. There's an ad here that I always like to show. Where is it? There's an ad here that I always like to show. It should be in this folder somewhere, but it's not. That's strange. Well, there's that one. I don't hate that one, but that's not Chrysler. I think it's in my Saturn research folder. Yeah, there it is. This is all the stuff that Chrysler made in 1969. They made tanks, they made mobile lounges, boats, trucks. They made all kinds of stuff. They were very diverse in their industrial capacity. Oh yeah, also the Saturn 1B's first stage. Yeah, they made that. That's a Chrysler. It's a Douglas upper stage and the North American capsule. My car is in here, for what it's worth. That one, right there. Coronet. I have a Coronet 500 sedan, but that's my car. I have that car. Pretty cool, huh? Whoa, can you link that? This is local, Inky, but here. I'll get you a link for it. Like I said, Chrysler was an engineer's company, dude. They were like Tesla back in the day. I mean, all three of the big three were. I really wish they would get back to doing this instead of being some puppet company for Stellantis. Whatever the hell that means. Yeah, they made a lot of good stuff, dudes. Yeah, that's SERV, though. SERV was righteous, but Venture Star is cooler, too. Why did they lose the contract for that? T-Man, SERV lost the contract for NASA because of this thing. Yeah, because they thought Rockwell's proposal was better. Pray. SERV. It's a freaking bell curve, dude. I think it's far right, dude, to be honest with you. Oh, man. But it's not an SSTO. Yeah, I know, Mile. NASA thought this was a better architecture. And to be fair, that's a really good design, dude. The shuttle is very good for what it is. It's really good. It does, like, that's very underrated for what it does. It's a 1.5 to orbit. Prey, are you here? Can you give me some documentation on them moving the wings out to the edges like that? You said it was added late in the program. Can you give me some documentation for it? I'm not saying you're wrong. I've seen the pictures. I just need a good source. What was the target mass to LKO on this thing? 18 tons, Jim. I think the next thing to do, guys, is to build the aero shell, honestly. Will the tonnage be up on this craft you're working on? 18, Inkerman. Think if you get it running, you can build a space station? Of course. Yeah, of course I could. Try and make it light but sturdy. Of course, that's always the balance that you have to play when you're making SSTOs. That's gonna be crazy, T-Man. Yeah, it's gonna be a difficult thing to make. Alright, guys. We made a lot of progress today with this. I should have the arrow shell done by tomorrow. We're gonna do Kerbal all day tomorrow again. It should be scalable, T-Man, yep. Yeah, we'll build out the arrow shell tomorrow, and then hopefully finish the thrust structure, figure out where the engine placement is going to be. And yeah, if I can get the arrow shell done tomorrow, and the engine placement done tomorrow, we have a functioning we'll have close to a functioning prototype. And then Friday we can work on the pad, and then Saturday do a test flight. We got a lot of Kerbal over the next couple of days, dudes. It's going to be pretty insane. I'll do some digging for late aero design documents. Cool, cool. I rattled the cage of the Lieutenant Governor of Colorado today. Wish me luck. Alright. Thoughts on Ecranoplanes, just wondering. Cool idea, Sea Dragon. Really smart, actually. Would you be able to swap out cargo for the crew cabs? I would probably end up just putting crew tanks in here like this if we needed to move people. Yeah, like that. Configurable payload bay, just like the small one. For the people! Sure, man. I don't know what you're trying to build, but it's already amazing. Can't wait to see you it fly. I'm trying to make this. Here, Van, look. I'm trying to make that. This thing, right here. This was a real-life idea. This is not my idea. This is Lockheed's idea. Lockheed Martin was going to make this. It is a single-stage to orbit space shuttle. It is a shuttle that just right up into space. Comes right back down. This would be like if you took the space shuttle, the external tank, and then took the boosters off, took the solid rocket boosters off, replaced them with liquid fuel boosters, and made it into one big thing. That's what that is. The thing would have been frigging huge. I mean, like I said, it would have been about the size of an actual shuttle stack. Yeah, this thing, that thing is as big as a 747. It's as long as one, which is unbelievable, and the wingspan is about the same. This is called Venture Star. I'm trying to make it in KSP, but not only am I trying to make it in KSP, I'm trying to make it work like that one in KSP. Actually, heck, where can we find the pad that was built for the X-33? It's west of Edwards Air Force Base. Yeah, it would have been pretty cool. Not NASA, Rule 8 people canceled the program because it was... Well, we didn't need that. The demand for rocket launches in the early 2000s actually was very low, so let's not build this. We don't need to build this. It wouldn't be profitable. It wouldn't be profitable to build a fully reusable vehicle because the launch market, it took a temporary slump. The tanks were just an excuse, Ryan. That was just an excuse to can the project. Anybody that knows anything about aerospace engineering knows that they would have figured it out. You know what's good for our night shot? Black paint. Yeah, I hate that mentality. Well, it wouldn't be profitable. It wouldn't be profitable building a fully reusable launch vehicle because the launch market demand doesn't denote for it right now. So it wouldn't really be profitable. Wario disagrees. Wouldn't really be profitable, guys. Guys, it wouldn't be profitable. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not. I understand. That was the mentality at the time. I get it. Alright, guys. Made a lot of progress today, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop for now. Look at this thing. We'll get the aero shell done tomorrow and the thrust structure done. And then we'll figure out a pad. I basically already have the blueprints. We just have to make it a little bit bigger. But holy heck, is this thing going to be sick. I heard my name, but it was with an I, not a J.